Hello, my name is Eric James. This is FTE 217 Modern Sporting Rifle, week 6 assignment. The date today is November 14th. For this assignment, we're going to talk about how to field strip an AR platform, then talk about any attachments, future work on the rifle that I plan to do, what it's going to do for the performance of the rifle, i.e. aesthetics, recoil, performance. Then I'll talk about a few aftermarket trigger systems, how they're advertised, and whether or not I believe the advertisements. Then we'll talk about dimpling the barrel for the gas block, and finally we'll perform a drop test. So without further ado, we'll clear the firearms so we can field strip. As far as attachments are concerned, what I'm going to do is I get a 1:6 by 24 scope or 1:8 by 24 scope and throw on there. What that's going to do for me is increase my chances of accuracy. I haven't had to shoot iron sights on an AR platform for probably 19 years. The scope just breeds accuracy. The next thing I'll probably do is get rid of the mil-spec buttstock and put something along the lines of this Magpul MOE. Then I'll potentially replace the trigger. I know I said in a previous video that I like this trigger, but that's because I've not had a different trigger. So after doing some research, I will make my decision on what spring or what trigger group to throw in there. The muzzle brake will get changed as well. That's going to go for both the AR-15 and the AR-10. I'm going to get rid of the mil-spec flash hider and put on a Silencer Co. ASR quick mount muzzle brake that allows me to suppress both the AR-15 and the AR-10 in the future. That modification will reduce felt recoil a little bit. It's going to make it a lot louder, but it'll reduce the felt recoil. As far as the buttstock is concerned, it's going to improve the aesthetic look for me. I like the way that MOE feels in my shoulder as compared to the mil-spec. The trigger is going to help me with accuracy, potentially. We'll see what happens on that. Also, I will be getting rid of this charging handle latch and replacing it with something along the lines of this, just to make it easier when it's scoped to charge it. When it comes to triggers, I looked at a few. TriggerTech single stage. TriggerTech advertises that their trigger improves accuracy because you're at a wall. The single stage is at the wall immediately and then it breaks off clean. They advertise that it's a smoother trigger feel than the mil-spec trigger. Same thing with the Geissele single stage. I don't know if I want to mess with the two-stage triggers. I'm kind of fond of being able to pull or put my finger on the trigger and touch it off to make the rifle go, so that it improves my accuracy as well as improve the accuracy of other shooters. So do I agree with the advertisement? I do, and that's just simply because I've watched a lot of videos where folks are throwing drop-in triggers or aftermarket trigger systems and their accuracy goes up because their weight goes down. The feel of the trigger is smoother. There's no creep, unlike this one where there's a lot of creep. It's a smoother trigger feel than the mil-spec. So I would agree that a drop-in trigger fixes the creep issue and will help the shooter increase accuracy. Now that's only if the shooter is practicing proper shooting fundamentals and techniques. The last thing I'm going to talk about before I cut to put the rifle back together is the barrel dimpling. I don't plan on dimpling this barrel for the simple fact that it came dimpled from the factory. That's not a requirement. However, in the future, if I run into gas issues, I may dimple my AR-15. It had an A2 sight on it once, pulled it off to free float the barrel and put a low pro gas block on. So that's not dimpled, but in the future I might dimple it just for added security. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away and perform the drop test. We're back for the drop test portion of the video. Before I do that, make sure it's clear, still clear. So from here, the rifle is on safe. There you can see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the anvil on my vise. I'm going to pick it up a few inches, drop it 2 or 3 times, pull the trigger with it on safe to see if the hammer fell. Verify the hammer fell by putting on a fire, and then we'll do it again on fire. So here we go. Okay, pull the trigger, nothing happens. We'll verify that the trigger didn't, or the hammer didn't fall. Hammer didn't fall. We'll charge it again. The rifle is on fire still. Can't really see it. There we go. And we'll do the same test. So from here, drop it 2 or 3 times and verify that it did not fire. To verify it, I'm going to pull the trigger. The rifle passed the drop test. That does it for week 6's assignment. Thank you for watching.